Back in December, I made a list of 6 horror movies that I wanted to prioritise over this winter. And then in January, I got in a bit of a funk, and that list got put on the back burner. But here I am today, finally getting back to that list with the werewolf whodunit movie that is Werewolves Within. But if you don't know anything about Werewolves Within from 2021, let me quickly fill you in. Werewolves Within from 2021 is a horror mystery. A small town becomes trapped in a snowstorm and under threat as a mysterious beast begins to pick them off one by one. As the bodies pile up, the blame begins to shift from person to person, and this trigger-happy community will do anything to ensure that they are the last one standing. If you're new here, I go by Hordes, and if you're not new, welcome back. I talk about horror movies here on my channel on Mondays and Fridays, but as always, when it comes to watching movies here on my channel, I am now going to go and watch Werewolves Within off camera, so that way, if you too decide that you want to watch this werewolf whodunit movie, nothing will be spoilt for you, because nobody wants to watch a movie that you've just watched somebody else watch from start to finish, and I keep it spoiler free here on my channel because nobody, and I mean nobody, likes spoilers.
Search for clues. Search for clues.
I have such a love for non-serious horror comedies that have light-hearted moments and feel-good vibes, and that is the exact definition of Werewolves Within. Like, this movie pulls you in for the most aggressive bear hug of your life at the very beginning as you get to know all the residents of this tiny town of Beaverfield with the new Ranger Flynn, and by the end of it you are going to know every single one of these residents as if they were your own neighbours, and it sets up for this whodunit, but with werewolves. I live in England. I live nowhere near a forest and nowhere near a mountain, which is probably why I love this kind of location in movies so much. It feeds my soul. But a whodunit movie in a blizzard set on a mountain town surrounded by forests feeds my soul on an entirely different level. Like, it speaks to me, like, I love it. I love it. Like, what's not to love about this? Isolated location, beautiful scenery, I'm all here for it. And then you look at the scenery in this movie, like, I love decor when it is full of stuff, like maximalist decor all the way, that tells you exactly who lives in all of these locations and who are these people. And that is every single location that you come across in this movie. Like, if you didn't know who these residents are just from the way they act, look at their houses and you're like, oh, I've met every single one of these people and I do not want to live near any of them. Finn, our new park ranger, is adorable. Like, from the very second that you meet him on his ride up to the mountains to start his new job, he's adorable. He's the most lovely, like, you just want to hug Finn. Like, he's just found himself in a situation that's a little bit over his head, and he's so adorable. And then you've got Cecily, who is set up as like the potential love interest for him. There is more going on that certainly does not let this love interest flourish, and they end up with this like friendship / working relationship, which works really well. I love them. And then you get the residents of Beaverfield, and like I said, you have met every single one of these characters at some point in your life. And this is a town that has been divided over opinions because somebody wants to build a pipeline through the middle of it. Yes, they're going to get money if they agree to it, but they're also going to lose all of the like town heritage and the wildlife and everything that goes with that. So this is a town where everybody hates somebody else for a different reason, which is the perfect setup for a whodunit. My favourites though are Devon and Joachim, who are the gay couple that has moved from the big city to the tiny town. They have a yoga studio. Like, Joachim, I think, might be my favourite in the entire movie. I love Janine, who runs the lodge. You find out that her husband has gone missing. This is in the first 5 minutes, and there's obviously more to this, but Janine is like Janine and the Crossbow. If you've seen this movie, you'll know what I mean. Love her. She is great, and she's played by the same actress that played Wanda in Orange is the New Black. So anytime that I find something that's got somebody that was in Orange is the New Black in it, I'm a happy girly, because God, did I love that program when that was airing. And then you've got Emerson, who is this like backwoods country boy who loves to hunt And he's the town's scary dog man. Like, every town has got one where you're like, don't go on his property, he will kill you, but you know that there is more to his character beyond that. Like, out of every character in this, they are my favourites.
You're adorable.
I'm adorable!
When I say that this is lighthearted and has feel-good vibes, which I know is absolutely not everybody's taste in horror movies, I mean that this has kind of got Scooby Doo vibes about it, and the good Scooby Doo vibes. There's the whole, like, let's split up and search for clues. Is there really a bad guy? Is there a real werewolf? All of this is like, it builds up and builds up and builds up. All the characters in this, you never know who actually is the werewolf in this, because things are hinted at all the time. Like, characters will respond in certain ways, or they'll do a certain facial expression. And it builds up suspicion for absolutely everybody in the best way. Like, I never want to be able to guess in a whodunit movie who did the whodunit. And I can honestly say in this, it kept me guessing all the way through to the end of it. And the reveal, I was pleasantly surprised at this, because did I spot it coming? No. And if you rewatch the scenes back a second time, I don't think you would even spot it then, because it is so well hidden. If you're not a fan of blood and gore and violence in horror movies, but you still like the spooky side of it, you will probably like this movie a lot, because that side of this movie is kept to the bare minimum. This movie in the UK is only a 15 rated, which I believe is a teen rating in the US, but don't quote me because I'm not American. But when these moments do happen throughout the movie, they are there to enhance the multi-layers of story plot that is going on at the time, rather than to distract and try and pull you away from the plot, which is definitely going to go in this movie's favour. Like, don't distract me from the whodunit, because I'm trying to play along at home and I want to know who did it in the whodunit. This is where I take points though, because I do think that this movie is overly long. It is an hour and 37 minutes, and had they managed to get this down to say an hour and a half or even an hour and 25 minutes, it would massively have helped the pacing of this, because the second act of this movie, it does tend to lose speed, and around the hour mark, it really does feel like it's dragging its feet before it kicks into the third act. The first act in this is great. It's all the introduction parts of it, and it leads you up to when the blizzard starts. Then you get the first part of the second act, which is a little bit of like the whodunit part has kicked in, like, well and truly now. And then there's a lot of sitting around and talking in the second part of the second act. And I could have done with a bit of that taking out before it kicks back into that third act, where absolutely everything happens in a matter of about 25 minutes. Very quickly, the soundtrack is bop in this. I always mention when a soundtrack is great. Soundtrack just gets a special little moment to say it's bop, and it's absolutely worth watching this movie just for the soundtrack alone. In the end, I am actually going to give Werewolves Within from 2021 a 3.5 out of 5 stars, which may surprise some of you because I seem to have raved about this movie, but hear me out. I did have fun with this one. It is like part Scooby Doo, part Clue, part Knives Out, and the whole time you know that the killer is going to be a werewolf. But unfortunately, because of its subgenre, it is always going to be a one and done, because how much rewatchability can you give a movie that's a whodunit when you know the whodunit part of it? Yes, it does have its pacing problems in the second act, but I would still say if you are on the fence about this one, give it a watch, because for a single watch, you will have a good time with this one. But my opinion isn't the only one that matters, which begs the question, should you personally watch Werewolves Within from 2021? If you like your horror movies flavoured with whodunit mysteries, werewolves, questionable characters, blizzards, the song The Sign by Ace of Base, or anything that is listed here, then you might like Werewolves Within from 2021. So there you have it, my initial thoughts and my review for my first time watching Werewolves Within from 2021. If you've also seen this movie, I would love to know what your thoughts and opinions are on it down in the comments section down below. And if you are interested in enjoying watching this one, like I always do, check the description bar below the video where you'll find a link to justwatch.com so you can find out where it is streaming in your country. If you would like to know where else you can find me, I am also over on Instagram and Letterboxd at HordesOfHorror, where I post every single horror movie that I watch, not just the ones I talk about here on YouTube. But speaking of YouTube, I'll be back on Monday with another solo movie review, and as next week is the lead up to Valentine's Day, we're watching a Valentine's Day horror on Monday because I found one that I don't think many people have seen, about a dead boyfriend who refuses to stay dead and has a murderous teddy bear companion, and if you know me, I am no stranger to a killer plush here on my channel. So until next time, bye!